Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise to get you well informed on what truly matters. Today, we're plunging into a world many of you probably know all too well, the relentless hunt for quality sales, leads in freight, and logistics. If you've ever been in that grind, you know it feels like endless searching, relying on stale information, and watching precious time just vanish on cold calls. It's often, inefficient, slow, and frankly, just not built for growth.
It's a pervasive issue, absolutely. For way too long, sales teams have been kind of stuck in that cycle, outreach without real context or verified activity. But what's really fascinating now is the significant shift we're seeing, how leading logistics companies are tackling this head on.
Right. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're uncovering how these innovative teams are literally transforming their sales processes. How? By tapping into timely global trade data. We're going to explore how this data isn't just some dusty record anymore. It's becoming a strategic sales weapon, really helping businesses pinpoint real opportunities, keep a sharp eye on competitors, and build pipelines that close stronger and faster.
Yeah, think of it as moving from just like blind hope to deeply informed, actionable intelligence.
So where did we gather the insights for this?
For this deep dive, we've pulled insights from, a rich collection of sources. That includes candid discussions with industry experts and some really compelling real-world examples. Companies like MTA Lines, who are putting this stuff into action every single day.
Okay, great. So before we jump into the solutions, let's really map out the terrain first. What are those persistent headaches, those, traditional pain points that logistics sales teams just can't seem to shake?
Well, like you hinted, the sheer grind of finding high-quality leads, that's still right at the top of the list. Sales and marketing teams pour so much time into prospecting, but a major stumbling block is relying on those traditional databases.
Yeah.
They just don't provide crucial shipment context.
Right. No real detail.
Exactly. So teams often end up chasing leads that are stone cold, or worse, based on information that's long past its expiry date. It's just not efficient. Not scalable across an entire team either.
So we're talking about a lot of manual effort, basically chasing ghosts on cold lists. But beyond these kind of traditional frustrations, what about the new layers of complexity, the unique challenges the current global environment throws at them?
That's a critical question right now. There's significant uncertainty, isn't there? With an ever-shifting global trade landscape. Think about issues like Section 232 tariffs, the steel tariffs, which can suddenly make certain imported goods way more expensive, or the complex challenges around proving a product's country of origin. These real-world issues create constant flux. It forces companies and their customers to divert precious time and resources just trying to navigate the landscape, time they could be spending on, sales or growth.
And it's not just tariffs, is it? It's also just an incredibly crowded and competitive market out there.
Exactly. It's flooded, very competitive.
Yeah.
And in this volatile environment, it becomes incredibly difficult to reach the actual decision makers. You can invest a tremendous amount of effort, go through your whole pitch, only to find you're not speaking to the person who can actually sign on the dotted line.
That sounds incredibly frustrating.
It leads to massive wasted time and effort. Plus, many companies are simply hesitant to make any changes at all, because of the prevailing market volatility. Why risk switching to a new supplier when the whole market feels unstable?
Okay. So given these pervasive challenges, it's pretty clear the traditional sales playbook just isn't cutting it anymore. And that brings us right to the heart of today's deep dive. How trade data is fundamentally reshaping this landscape, how it's transforming into a potent strategic sales asset. It really feels like we're stepping into a new chapter for logistics sales, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, yeah. Trade data is no longer just a historical archive. It provides verifiable activity and deeply actionable insights. The core benefits here are truly game-changing. It allows teams to literally see active embedded importers and exporters.
Okay.
You can monitor competitor relationships almost in real time and build much stronger, more resilient pipelines. This finally eliminates that, blind outreach and those wasted cycles we were just talking about.
That's a really profound shift. Can you walk us through some key applications, maybe some examples of how this trade data is actually put into action, turning information into real opportunity?
Definitely. One of the most powerful applications is precision targeting and qualification. Mike Schneider from MTA Lines shared a great example. He mentioned he can filter by country, specific shipment type, volume, even down to the ZIP code.
Wow. ZIP code level.
Yeah. He talked about their dedicated service to the Cleveland area from Europe. So when their rep visits Cleveland, Mike can pull up leads specific to the country they're coming from and that exact area they'll be in. This isn't just targeted. It's almost surgical in its precision.
So no more wasting time on unsuitable leads, like a company whose volume is just way too high for you. Or maybe they ship a product like Cure Grain Break bulk that just isn't a fit for your niche.
Yeah.
You know your sweet spot.
Precisely. You find your ideal customer profile much faster. Another critical application is rapid response, responding to market dynamics and sudden disruptions. The timeliness of this data is just crucial here. Take the Baltimore Bridge collapse last March, for instance. A huge disruption. The Port of Baltimore was effectively shut down. With trade data, you could immediately identify I think it was over 200,000 shipments that came into the Port of Baltimore by sea in the year before the collapse.
Okay, that's an immediate critical need right there. But practically speaking, in the chaos of a crisis like that, what's the biggest hurdle for logistics firms trying to act on this data quickly? Is it just having the data, or is there more to it?
That's a fantastic question. Because, having the data is step one. But the real challenge is acting on it with speed and precision. This data lets you see exactly who the top shippers are by weight or number of shipments. You can trace their origins, whether it's China, Germany, Vietnam, which were all heavily affected by the Baltimore situation. It empowers incredibly rapid responses to sudden catastrophes. It lets you provide critical service right when customers need it the most.
So it's about getting that actionable info into the hands of sales teams fast.
Exactly, so they can reach out with a solution, not just another cold call.
Okay, so it's not just about reacting to crises, but also about deeply informed prospecting and research on an ongoing basis. Our sources highlighted the sheer value of detailed company profiles.
Yes, the AI-generated profiles are an absolute game changer here. They pull in information that goes far beyond just shipments. You get founding history, headquarters, core business details, current news, main product lines, shipment stats over time,
Wow.
countries worked with, suppliers, contact information, and even LinkedIn profiles of key people, all in one place. This saves just a tremendous amount of manual research.
Yeah.
And it ensures sales teams go into calls far more informed, ready to talk specifics.
Mike from MTA Lines had that fantastic anecdote about this, didn't he? He spotted an ocean container at a customer's dock.
Yeah.
Pulled out his mobile app, instantly looked up the company, and boom, within seconds, he had like 12 years of their shipment data, suppliers, volumes, even bill of lading numbers.
Right there in the field.
That's real-time intelligence. It's almost like having a sales superpower, isn't it?
It really is. And that kind of granular detail also plays a huge role in competitive intelligence and service improvement, too. You can literally see what your competitors are doing. You can even analyze bill of lading information to track transit times. Mike mentioned identifying a prospect who is using a carrier with, say, 17 to 19-day transit times, and then being able to confidently offer a faster 12-day option.
That's a concrete advantage.
Or if New York's port is congested, suggesting an alternative like Norfolk based on their current shipping patterns, it's about offering smart solutions.
And it's not just about winning new business, right? It's also about deepening current customer relationships by spotting new trade lanes or activities they start.
Absolutely. You can proactively reach out and say, hey, I see you just started importing goods from Vietnam. That kind of attention sounds like magic to a client. It shows you're paying attention, builds trust, and definitely helps foster repeat business.
And the timeliness factor you mentioned seems key.
Oh, definitely. U.S. data is updated every single weekday. It reflects shipments from just the last 3 to 5 days, so you can get incredibly current alerts.
3 to 5 days, that's almost real time.
Pretty close. Other international data typically has maybe a 30 to 60-day lag.
Yeah.
But it's still updated monthly, which is valuable. Plus, there are API solutions and bulk data files available for CRM integration. That means sales teams can stay within their existing systems, like Salesforce or whatever they use. Makes it seamless and much more efficient.
Okay, so let's talk tangible impact then. MTA Lines, the company actively using this, they shared some pretty compelling results, right? What have they actually been seeing?
Yeah, Mike Schneider shared that a staggering 70% of MTA Lines leads now originate from trade data. 70%.
Wow.
And when they run focused campaigns using this data, approximately 10% of those leads convert into face-to-face meetings or rate quotes. And then a solid 1 to 2% of those result in actual new customers during those campaigns, which in logistics is a pretty good conversion rate from lead to close.
That's significant.
He also strongly stressed the importance of having employees dedicated to leveraging this data. It's not just buying the tool, it's investing in the people to truly use it effectively.
That makes sense. And despite all these amazing digital tools, Mike still emphasized that, good old-fashioned phone calls remain the best way to connect with prospects. So how do they approach those calls? Especially when the information they have is so incredibly specific. How do you lead with that without maybe making a prospect feel uncomfortable, like you're spying on them?
That's a really critical strategic point. And Mike advises against revealing the data source directly. Apparently, some customers aren't totally comfortable knowing that level of detail is, well, widely accessible.
Okay, that's interesting.
So instead, the approach is to reference specific insights you've gained. Maybe mentioning you're aware of their suppliers from a certain region, or you understand their particular trade lanes. It demonstrates value and a deep understanding of their business. It shows you're not just selling, you're being genuinely helpful and trying to actively solve a problem they might have.
And they also leverage LinkedIn for research and initial outreach, kind of warming up the contact first.
Exactly. It's all about being profoundly informed, showing the prospect you understand their potential pain points before they even have to tell you.
Makes sense.
The core principle really is be helpful. Have information that genuinely solves the prospect's problem. Because let's face it, no one really wants to talk to a salesperson, right?
Right.
But pretty much everyone wants to talk to someone who can solve their problem or make their life easier.
That's a great way to put it. It sounds like this isn't just about optimizing sales tactics then. It feels like part of a much broader business strategy. What opportunities are emerging for companies to really grow using this approach? And what separates the winning companies from those maybe falling behind?
Well, the specific opportunities are unique to each business, of course. But access to timely intelligence that seems to be the consistent differentiator. The winning companies, according to our sources anyway, are those willing to take a risk and adapt proactively. MTA Lines, for example, proactively opened a foreign trade zone before those Section 232 tariffs spiked. They saw the writing on the wall.
Smart move.
And they've significantly expanded their warehouses recently, too. They were nimble. They grew even when other forwarders in their local area were struggling or even closing down.
And Mike also made that really interesting point about the value of focusing on employee satisfaction first. He argues it naturally leads to better service, which in turn attracts customers. It's kind of a holistic approach to competitive advantage.
It absolutely is. Happy, engaged employees mean better customer service. And that creates this sort of virtuous cycle that attracts and retains customers. It all connects.
So for any logistic leaders listening, maybe considering investing in trade data for their sales and marketing teams, what's the core advice? How do they get the absolute most out of it?
I think the first piece of advice is fundamental. Clearly define the problem you're actually trying to solve. Is it about building better lead lists? Is it supporting a regional sales team that's maybe struggling in a specific area? Or is it capitalizing on specific low-tariff country opportunities you've identified?
Know your why.
Exactly. Knowing your objective transforms that raw data into genuinely actionable intelligence. Otherwise, it's just numbers.
And crucially, you have to use the investment, right? Don't just subscribe and let the data sit there collecting digital dust.
Absolutely. Actively engage with it. Target specific markets, understand what your competitors are doing, and go into calls already knowing potential pain points based on their actual shipping activity. It's all about organizing and customizing your lead targeting for maximum success, not just a scattergun approach.
This all ties back nicely to how technology, including sophisticated AI models, is being deployed thoughtfully now. To ingest these vast amounts of data, crawl the web, fetch helpful context, basically transforming what would otherwise be just shipment records into easily digestible analysis and insights, making it truly actionable for a sales team on the front lines.
That's the real transformation right there. From raw, potentially overwhelming data to intelligent strategic action that actually closes deals.
And that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. We've really seen how leveraging timely global trade data transforms that sales grind into, well, a profound strategic advantage. It enables precision targeting, rapid response to market shifts, and truly informed outreach. It's really about understanding your prospects in the market on a fundamentally deeper level than ever before.
Yeah, it really is. So as you reflect on this, maybe consider this provocative thought. If the most successful companies are proving to be those that can foresee and adapt to market shifts using data, What unexamined areas of your own business could be transformed by leveraging timely, granular intelligence like this? Think about it. This level of insight might not just close more deals in the short term. It could fundamentally reshape your market position, offering a kind of strategic resilience and a competitive edge far beyond what traditional sales tactics could ever achieve. Food for thought.